Okay, then let's start. Dear participants of our Masterclass, welcome to a breakout room that will be dedicated to discuss social issues in the sustainability transition. We have two amazing yet different and looks even more exciting while complementary cases today with us. It is my pleasure to introduce you to Cécile Lerin, who will be the first one presenting. Cécile is coming to us from Brussels as a sustainability coordinator from Labaronne, the Opera House. You have an experience in engineering, so you bring some competencies that are very much important, but also for the social transformation. So it's exciting to have you with us. You worked 12 years for environmental issues in the energy sector, and Cécile as well then moved to more cultural-related issues, starting in 2019 with Climate Press Network in Belgium, but you also worked with the SHIFT project, who is responsible for sustainability certification in cultural networks. And then finally, Cécile in 2024 joined Labaronne, the Brussels Opera House, as sustainability manager to coordinate corporate and social responsibility strategy. Welcome, Cécile. You will be the first one to present, but let me still as well introduce you to Alfredo Aracil, Head of Education, coming from us from Buenos Aires. It's so exciting to have you here as well. Alfredo represents Museo Moderno, very different building than the Opera House in Brussels, while the first one is a historic, symbolic building for the Belgian nationality, way of identity, and an important house. You are coming from a post-industrial warehouse in Buenos Aires with different environmental, but especially social challenges. Alfredo is from Spain originally. He has his degree in contemporary art history and visual culture from the University in Madrid. You were also involved in many cultural initiatives in Spain, but also in Buenos Aires. And from what I heard from you, 2017 you moved to Argentina to work finally at the Museo Moderno, first as community coordinator. I think this experience will be very crucial for us, but then finally as a head of education, and this is the experience that you are in your capacity today. So it's my pleasure to moderate the session. My name is Małgorzata Patrico. I represent Culture for the Planet Alliance, and I'm responsible for the standardization approach in our project. The social issue is important for us as well, since we want to make our standard inclusive, engaging, but also important for community building. So it's amazing to have you here. Also you, our audience from Lausanne and beyond, please feel invited to the dialogue right after the presentations. And I see that we already have a solution for translating into French. Thank you very much as well for the kind support, and welcome, bienvenue. And please, Cécile, the floor is yours. As you prefer.
So I have 10 minutes. Yes. I will try to do my best not to overshoot my time, and try also to be comprehensive and to not talk too fast. But please, if you don't understand something, please let me know afterward. So I will present a case study of social responsibility that we developed in our opera house in Brunet. Just to give you some background, the Labaronne Opera House is a federal opera house, which means that it receives public funding and reproduces opera, ballet, and concerts. We had a total of 70 opera performance. It's the double if I add the concerts, the concertinis, the ballet, and well, all of our different shows. We welcome about 100,000 spectator visitors per year in our building, and we represent about 400 full-time equivalent permanent staff. We are engaged in corporate sustainable responsibility activities since 2000 already, but we only gathered all those activities in a transversal CSR strategy just about 3 years ago. I won't have time to go into the detail of all those pillars, but I think they are pretty familiar to all of the people who actually work or know a little bit about corporate social responsibility. Here I will focus on our strategic pillar, which is openness to society. It includes all of our social activities. We have educational program, which I won't go into detail because Alfredo is going to actually share his experience in that. I will present one of our social program, but we have also a lot of different other activities such as festivals and educational program. So our social program, which is called A Bridge Between Two Worlds, is a program that was born already 25 years ago, and its mission and its philosophy is to building inclusion and connection and dignity through the arts, music, and opera. Basically, the program was founded on the belief that culture is a right, and through that it aims to re-establish the dialogue between the world of opera on one side and the community that are facing poverty, isolation, or illness on another side. And this program believes that we can actually use culture and arts in order to address social exclusion through a collective artistic practice. So, well, we have the core value in here. I won't detail them too much. Again, culture, we believe that culture is a right and it's a lever to fight against poverty and exclusion. And we have at heart to encourage and enable social but also generational diversity in our groups, in our activities. And we want to facilitate access to music, to opera, and make it a lever for integration, especially for people who are really isolated, such as in prison or in nursing home, where they suffer a lot from that. And we want to foster a sense of belonging and of well-being in our participants. So who is this program destined to? Who is our targeted audience? We address mainly adults which are in a state of vulnerability, whether it's social, economic, or medical vulnerability. And to that end, we reach to those participants through a trusted social organization, such as a public center of social action, hospital, prison, center that provides literacy training for adults, but like I said, nursing homes, senior day centers, juveniles, hospital, and also association who deals with refugee, migrants, and people with disability. They are a very key partner in this program for us. So what do we need to do this program? Now, detail after what we do. Basically, we have a full-time coordinator who is coordinating all of our different activities, but we also rely on 13 artistic facilitators, mostly choir leaders, but also musicians. And we also rely a lot on volunteers. Currently, we have 15 volunteers, and we get like 90% of our funding through external partners, because it's very important to us to maintain a free access to all our activities. Just to give you a broad the budget, broad idea, the budget that we need to ensure all those activities is around 250,000 euro per year. So what do? We organize, well, we have two core activities. The first core activities is that we organize singing workshops. We currently have 20 weekly workshops across whole Belgium, Brussels, Wallonia, but also Flanders. And we totalize about 900 sessions of those workshops per year. Among those, we have, among those 20 workshops, we have 4 workshops that are intergenerational. So we mix, we have this social diversity. And our facilitators animate different genres. They're very diverse, and they also are very, they listen to the participants and to the participant suggestion, because participants sometimes are musicians, sometimes have different musical culture, and they bring all of that into those workshops, which is very enriching. Where do these workshops happen? We set some of them in our house in Labaronne for the groups that can actually come to us. But for the groups who cannot come to us, such as nursing homes or prison, we go to them. So we go to nursing home, prison, or some community centers. Our goal is for these workshops is obviously to, to bring joy and that our participants enjoy being there. But we also provide social bonding, some emotional release, because basically singing connects people together and it creates community where previously there would have been isolation. And we use the word, we use the voice as a bridge because we believe that the voice is one of the most democratic instruments. Basically, all have one. The second type of activity is bringing our participants to our performance in Labaronne. So we hold major events such as opera, concert, recital, but also guided visit to our theater. We organized some introduction to opera, meaning that we can bring the music to people who don't necessarily have the history of or the culture of opera. I have 2 minutes. And all of those activities allow everyone to experience the beauty of the live performance. Those are the results from the previous year, but I won't get into the detail of the number, because beyond the number, I think there is something more important that we see in those experiences, and I'll share one anecdote that happened in one of the workshops that we organized in a women's prison in Arène. And there was this woman, she had a beautiful voice, but we could not hear her in the choir. And the choir leader told her, she said, well, you have a beautiful voice, but I can't hear you. Is it possible for you to sing a little bit louder? And she said very spontaneously, well, I'm in prison, so my voice too is in prison. But after a few weeks, several weeks, she actually managed to release her voice, to let her free. And she came to the choir leader and to the organization, and she said, well, thank you so much for those workshops, because you helped me free my voice, and now I can use it, I can speak, and you helped me do that. So this kind of history is like what's nourishing the program, and sometimes it's not something that we can very measure, but it's actually there. So one of the challenges that we face is that, well, we have diverse group. Sometimes we have group with a lot of turnover, so it's sometimes very difficult to manage long-term trust, and that's what we're trying to build. That's very important. Like I said, one of the things that is sometimes difficult is to measure our social impact, and obviously, but I think it's the problem of everyone in culture. We need to be very cautious about the funding continuity. Like I said, we get most of our funding through public and private funders. And those funders usually ask us to some reports and some impact, and like to see what we do. And one of the things, if I can leave you with one tip, is that we learn that sometimes we want to get those activities visible, but we deal with people that are in state of vulnerability. So sometimes we also have to lower our ambition of visibility in order to preserve the participant dignity. So that's something that we learn, and that's, I think, is key for this kind of program. And obviously, we want to maintain, I'll look into the future outlook. We want to strengthen our collaboration between institutions, both social institutions, but also other cultural institutions. And one of other thing that is important for us is that we prioritize quality and continuity over scale. So basically, we want to maintain what we currently have before trying to grow and scale. It's more important for us to keep the quality of what we have. I will finish with a quote from our former General Director, Peter de Calouet, when someone, a journalist, or I don't remember, asked him, well, why do we continue this kind of program that are sometimes very difficult to maintain? And he just said, well, arts bring a sort of supplement. That's it.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Cecile, for your inspiring example, how to activate various groups and how to make the experience at Opera far more inclusive. Now we move to you, Alfredo, for your experience from Buenos Aires. You can use the same.
I'm going to ask you if you can DJ my presentation.
Of course.
Play the pictures.
Yes,
Some
this
pictures.
will be a presentation 101.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, thank you for this invitation and this opportunity. I'm really happy to be here. It was almost 26 hours to get to Switzerland, but although the jet lag, I'm really honored to be here sharing with colleagues and getting some real inspiration from the presentations and the workshops. This voice as a democratic instrument is really inspiring, and it's also matched the spirit of many of the experimental work that we do in the museum, in the education department. And it was so, release the voice, it was so strong to listen to that, it was so inspiring. And I'm going to read, this is something like a lecture. I'm going to read because I want to straight to the point, straight to the point. I don't want to get those and open windows and windows. There will be time for questioning. So we will have a moment to share questions. But I'm going to read this. During the last decade, the Museo Moderno of Buenos Aires, I must say that the Museo Moderno of Buenos Aires is a public institution. It is run by the city, by the Ministry of Culture of the city. This is important nowadays in Argentina. We are not run by the national government, so it's lucky thing during these years. The Museo Moderno of Buenos Aires has undergone a process of institutional transformation during this last decade with the aim of offering the world a leading institution for Argentine modern and contemporary art, culture, and education. We promote experimentation and research. We produce artworks, exhibitions, and programs that contribute to the economic development and professional training, not only in the art ecosystem, We are a museum, or we like to think that we are a museum in motion. This means flexible and permeable, fostering an horizontal dialogue, listening practice, a deep listening practice with our diverse society. We project ourselves from the global south, this is really important, as an inclusive and solidarity-based space. We believe that art is a tool for personal discovery, but also for collective healing, capable of generating a deep sense of belonging. We see the Moderno as a public service, but also as a form of infrastructure. And this means really something concrete, that we are a hospitable space that embraces difference, where the value of art is built through the encounter and the dialogue with the diverse audience, public. We aim to be a medium with all the meaning that medium contains, that distributes potential and connects diverse ways of thinking and expressing. Guided by the principle of sustainability and equity, we embrace the challenge of understanding the past and the present in order to build a future of hope. I'm telling you this because next year we will be celebrating our 70th anniversary. So we have been working in the values that we want to foster, that we want to put in dialogue with the civic society. The program will be a new annual program which will feature 10 exhibitions, public programs, and multiple outreach and mediation initiatives across the city and the region. It will be structured like the annual program Art is Education, that was the annual program of 2024, and also it will be mirrored at Art is Theater, the program of this year, the current program of this year. Each of them present 10 exhibitions and a book centered on infinitive learning. That was an exhibition, a large exhibition that I have the pleasure of co-creating, and a book that I co-edited. These initiatives highlight the unique exchange between the fields of art, education, and theater in Argentina since the early 20th century. For 2026, next year, with this celebration, we aim to push further the boundaries of the artistic system, addressing urgent issues affecting us all, like people and planet together. Of course, we are going to address the climate emergency and the crisis of the spiritual consciousness, and also the role of art and human imagination in this critical time for democracies. It is a big challenge, obviously, to address these kind of huge problems. And we are thinking in a program that could shape the next years, the next 70 years, according to the 7 values that we want to improve. I don't know if you can put the slides of the values. Here you can take a look to the values that we have been discussing. We have been putting together these core values of the institution. It has been a difficult and problematic discussion because it was a transversal discussion between many departments and many people coming from different profiles and backgrounds. I'm happy to be head of education and also happy to be part of the curatorial team. This is something really unique for a cultural institution, art institution. We have created this kind of transdisciplinary way of making not only decisions, but exhibitions and public programs. So I work in both fields. It's double job, but it's really a happy way of putting the values of education in the exhibition programs. I'm proudly responsible of the education. That is one of the values that you can see. But for us, education is not just a department, as I was saying. It's a core value and a transversal axis. I lead a team of almost 20 professionals, including educators, artists, psychotherapists, and anthropologists. This is something challenging because we have to find like a common language for speaking of the way that we think the museum and its challenges. Every day we welcome around 400 students, that's quite a lot. It's also challenging. This is from early childhood to teens, to teenagers, but also to university students. And also we work with day centers, older adults, and groups in risk of social exclusion. We prepare each visit, we adapt, and we accommodate the visit to the unique characteristics of each group, to their specific needs and desires and interests. We do that because we have like a method that is based in questioning and locating wonder as a core of a pedagogical method. Each year we train around 10,000 teachers. We do it with program that is placed in the museum, but also with courses that we do online. At that point, I must share with you that this year we are expecting to have like let's say 100,000, no, sorry, with the numbers, 100,000 audience, people coming to the museum. That is also challenging. Every day or every week, we organize workshops that are oriented to families and engaging new audiences, like teenagers and young people. Next year, we will be working hard to reach young people. It's something that we don't know exactly how to do, because our communication don't get to them. We use the same networks, but they apparently they don't get the information that we want to bring them. So this is important. I'm going to make a stop here. Every space workshop that we create is because the articulation that we have with different institutions, we work articulated. I mean, I do believe that people, like spontaneous people, can come to the museum and enjoy the visit, but it's important to create a channel of articulation that constantly, like a group working together with institutions. This is cultural institutions, but also health institutions. So we have this strong connection to the government, but also to social organizations that works in the therapy field. So to that end, we design activities in collaboration also with artists, and we also work with researchers who bring new perspective to the exhibition program and to our collection. We have a huge collection, 7,000 pieces of Argentine art from modern and contemporary. This initiative seeks to make art accessible to everyone. Everyone is from 0 to 99 years old. This is true, something that we work on, but it's happening right now. Expanding the ways of learning while having fun and creating also social bonds. We are really proud of our accessibility program during this year. It is based in the principle of universal design, which we approach not as a technical adjustment, but as a matter of ethical sensibility. It is a continuous collaborative process of mutual learning and ongoing training that involves many communities of practices and many identities. Our education team, this is new from this year, includes 2 professionals with disability who inspire us every day to persuade our mission to depathologize difference and to achieve full inclusion. Finally, I would like also to highlight the transformation of our community program. I was appointed first as coordinator of community program, so I have a strong connection to this program that nowadays is institutional framework. I'm really happy for next year's program that many things and many ways of working that we have been exploring during last year have become like the annual program of the museum. So it's like a consciousness going on that is really happy to be part of. Well, this community program that we went through, this transformation of the community program that we went through the years from a conception of art as a mental health tool to a more holistic undertaking about the role of art as a healing agent in society and in the world at large, a tool for holistic well-being, not only for humans, but also for environmental and biocultural diversity. Biocultural diversity is something that we have been working on. It's a really important concept for us. It was developed by some people, researchers working in the Rio de la Plata, who create a corredor putting together also not only people and practices, putting together nature and culture as a way of addressing to the same important theme that is health for all of us, for the planet, as I was saying, but also for the human. This brings me to the, this is my last point of the lecture, this brings me to our program entitled The Free Ecology, Las Tres Ecologías, which I will conclude my presentation. It is a program that was launched in 2022. It is an initiative that it was inspired by a book of Felix Guattari, a book that has now almost 35 years. It is a visionary and influential book. In this book, philosophy is practical knowledge and is used to help us thinking about Earth as a living entity. This perspective, this philosophical perspective framework, leads us to question the modern separation between many things, the dualistic way of thinking and dividing things like humans, non-humans. Actually, I was trying to put in crisis the notion of social. We were separate to speak of environmental, social, and governance. And this idea of the free ecologies of Felix Guattari is to address the three terms together, not to put them separately. This program is addressed to avoid the separation, the modern separation between the human health and the health of the non-human systems, expanding the idea or the concept of ecology into three interdependent dimensions. Again, environmental, social, and mental, which must be addressed together. Well, the program, talking about now concrete actions that we are doing, actually, because it's a long-term program. This is something also interesting, I believe. In the art field, we always do short-term programs. We open exhibitions, we do public programs about the exhibitions, and as soon as the exhibition finishes, we change the exhibition to another one with another kind of topics and concepts. So it's a kind of non-ecological way of thinking also, because you always have to start again. It's always the aim to start and to create new ideas and new exhibitions. So in my role of head of education, I try to stop this kind of anxious way of doing things by working on programs. Programs is not activity, program is something that goes on for many years. At least I want to think that many programs that we are doing can continue for many years. This process, the program begins with walking tours. This walking tours is something that has a tradition in art. Is walking considered as an art practice, walking together through the landscape or the territory as a way of art. So we organized a walk with an artist called Eduardo Marinari, but this organization, this design of the activity was also in collaboration with the San Joaquin and Santa Ana Senior Center in Rodrigo Bueno. This is a day center for other adults in Rodrigo Bueno. Rodrigo Bueno is a neighborhood place in the south of Buenos Aires. South of Buenos Aires is a complex area of the city by many reasons that I'm going to describe afterward. So they invite the artists and this collective, invite us to explore the coast of the city of the Rio de la Plata, and undergoing reurbanization spot that, as I was saying, is really complex because natural aspects, but also because social and urbanistic development. But the true innovation, okay, I will run. The true innovation was not simply generating green or social content. It was about confronting the own museum, colonial, and solipsistic unconsciousness. This is really important. Here we are addressing to something that is in the unconsciousness of the institution, museums. We are coming from a long history of colonial practices So working with people, opening up the process of making decisions, it is against the unconscious of the institution. Sometimes I have to explain many things to many people. Actually, it is weird to explain why an institution, an art institution, is working with a neighborhood, a poor neighborhood in the south of the city of Buenos Aires, with trees, with gardens. So it's a point that I have always to discuss in my institution why we are doing this, why is important this. Well, this program, the Free Ecology, meant opening up production and decision-making processes to the community and embracing collective work as both a research and a practical method. Through this process, we build an heterogeneous network We bring together neighbors, artists, activists, researchers, health professionals, other institutions, and social organizations as co-participants. These assemblées, this consortium of stakeholders, as Bruno Latour described it, share a damage and a common horizon. This theme of sharing a damage and a common horizon is because of all of us, including the museum, are affected by the complex situation, environmental and cultural situation of the Rio de la Plata through the coast of Buenos Aires. This place, the Rio de la Plata coast, is a liminal zone intensively exploited by the industrial developments in the 19th century, featuring degraded river landscape and marked by severe segregation based on class, race, and gender. Well, and this is the end of my presentation. This is what we did last year in 2024. March of the year 4 was focused on supporting the threatened eviction of a communal and educational garden for women and children. This place is called Las Yungas and is also located in Rodrigo Bueno, this neighborhood that I was describing. The neighborhood is a self-built neighborhood. It was built by migrant people coming from the north of Argentina, also coming from Peru. This is interesting because after the process, or in the meantime, we discovered that we were dealing with also indigenous cosmologies. They were migrants who were coming to Buenos Aires with their own beliefs. So it was a discovery that we have to also address to how indigenous way of thinking or about health or about culture could be included in the network that we were trying to design. It's also important that this neighborhood is, as I was saying, is a complex territory because they have been through many tensions and struggles against the urban development and the real estate speculation since the 90s. So this is transdisciplinary, long-term platform, but also it is a medium of sharing and engaging. It's addressing to a concrete problem of this community. We did this through walks, talks, conversations, sometimes in the museum and sometimes in the neighborhood, sometimes walking and sometimes sitting together, having mate, talking together, listening to each other. This is important to share time together with the people and listening to them. Their voice is something like this art at the end. But I know for sure that this was not obviously the solution to their problems. Instead, it is a way to stay together in the trouble, to think further, to travel also. It is an attempt to use art to generate evidence in political conflict. It is a way to create testimonies and to preserve stories. And it is a way of actively protect and highlight the environmental and cultural heritage of the Rio de la Plata. So thank you, that was it.
Thank you very much, Cecile and Alfredo. We will now move to questions, and the goal of the session is to dive deeper in the social issue of sustainability, but I promise you that we will match all the dimensions in the spirit of Felix Guattari later on. That's why we need to move a little bit faster, and we have like 20-25 minutes for discussion. I have some questions, but I think this is not me to ask you questions, so I invite you, dear audience as well, to take the opportunity. I think we need to slightly rearrange spatially, but perhaps we do it as a class or lecture, and you can perhaps turn to the audience. Is there anything that you would like to ask immediately? Yes.
I have a couple of questions for both of you. Thank you, because those were very interesting presentations. So to Cecile, I am curious, how do you manage the geographical approach to the activities that you do with people? Because you're a statewide institution, but you're based in a neighborhood in Brussels. Well, there are museums, like I know the example of the Museum Reina Sofia in Madrid, which they have a program called the Situated Museum, where they do activities with the closer community, but still they are a national institution. I am curious of how do you approach these different scales. You mentioned some of them, that you are doing things with communities in other areas and so on, but if you can develop a bit more on that. And I will go to Alfredo also. This is a reflection that I had when you were talking about we are not reaching young people. You mentioned also participatory approaches in decision making, so I'm curious about also how do you do, or how do you incorporate the community into the decision making of activities or of the decisions in the museum?
Regarding the young people, that is really important because of the crisis of the democratic values that we are going through in Argentina, but all Europe, South America, everywhere. So young people is something that we have to think twice, how to engage them, how to talk with them. We have been doing some work with several institutes that are public institutes of City of the Buenos Aires. It's a kind of training for people who like to become artists, from theater, music, but also from visual art. So the only way that we know nowadays to get to these young people is by or through the institutions. This is not bad. I mean, we have like this relationship with them, but also with the teachers. So we are working really close to the teachers. We are like in a focus group with the city government, working in engagement for young people. And next year we hope that we will be having like a kind of assembly. This assembly of young people, that is nothing new. Many institutions, actually this came to me by a conversation that I have with the colleagues in MUAC, Mexico. They have this assembly for young people that are working really, really good. Our goal for next year with this assembly is to create something like a festival for young people, but organized by the young people. Again, it's nothing new. We know that it works, so we are doing this because it's a model of something that is working. It's kind of ecological thinking also. As I was saying, we in museums, in art, and visual art, we always are in this running game of inventing new things. And I think that we have to take a look to other practices in institutions. Actually, we are speaking a lot with Reina Sofia, with the education department of Reina Sofia. Actually, today, something happened with Reina Sofia for young people. Argentinian artist called Silvio Lam, performance, theater, is working now in the Reina Sofia with a group of young people regarding sexual and gender topics. And he will be doing the same workshop in Buenos Aires 1 month from now. So we are sharing ideas, not only budgets that we would love to have the budget of the Reina Sofia, but we obviously don't have it. But we are sharing concepts, ideas, so I think it's important to take a look to what is going on around. This is something that also goes to the problem of the unconsciousness of the museum, that opening up the unconsciousness of the museum and treating the unconsciousness of the museum is trying to avoid this kind of solipsistic way of doing things. So yeah, that's participation. Also, you were asking something else about participation. Yeah. With the people from Rio Bueno, the neighborhood in the south of Buenos Aires, it was challenging, really challenging, because they didn't trust the museum. This is something common. I mean, we are a colonial institution trying to get to the people in order to create contents or to make them appear in the photos that we are taking. So we must build confidence. I mean, we must build this kind of relationship. It is a relationship. It's not only going to the territory or taking them to the museum by a bus. It's being there, having mate with her, that is a really Argentinian way of a ceremony. So it's becoming part of the rituals that they believe in, and it's also transforming the museum as we know it.
So your question was about like how we deal with the geography in Belgium, as we are, like you said, like you mentioned, a federal institution, and how we address the regional level or the even closer. Well, the short answer would be, like everything in Belgium that relates to administration or politics, it's complicated, very, very complex. First of all, because we are an exception in the cultural sector, meaning that the cultural aspect, which includes culture, education, even health, is dealt at a regional level, but we, with the Beaux-Arts institution and with the National Orchestra, are the only three institutions that are dealt at the federal level. But I would say that as far as geography, and since we organize activities that happen either in our location, or we have to send people, we have to send artists on a regular basis to different other locations, there's a practical choice on whether is it feasible to organize a weekly workshop in Liège when it would require maybe a 2-hour drive, because sometimes you cannot. Sometimes you can go by train, but sometimes it's difficult. So I know that for like our weekly workshops, we have them in a perimeter that just requires not such big distance, because we have either to send people there, and it's the same for when we bring people in, especially from nursing homes, like to bring them for a concert or an opera performance. We have to schedule special transportation. Usually they are people who have mobility difficulties. So it's, I mean, if you don't want to spend hours in logistics, well, we have to address the local institution. And I'd say that since we are building that, like I said, it's a long-term program, so some of the partners we have, some of the social institutions we work with, they have been our partners for over 20 years now, and so it's kind of historical, if I would say, like in a short way. So hopefully it's response to your question.
Thank you very much, Cécile. Do we have any other question? We have time to one more round.
I would have one, but I wait, please.
I do have one for you, because I wonder now with how politics are being managed in Argentina and all the fundings for the public institutions are being withdrawn. How do you expect the future to be, and how are you maybe trying to find solutions for this state of things? In Switzerland we have kind of the same, but not with the same extremes that we have in Argentina. Like it's happening the same, that the funds are being withdrawn from the culture and the sustainability domain. So yeah, what is your view on that?
Difficult question, obviously.
Sure.
I must say that I'm not from Argentina, I'm from Spain, so my learning during these 8 years that I have been living in Argentina is important to address the problem of crisis. Argentina has been living in crisis for 24 years, since 2001.
Always.
And always.
I can say, I'm from Argentina.
But it's important, let's say, from a positive point of view, it is a factory of self-organization and resistance practices, or create like a counterpower that is not the state, that is the people, the collective. It's so important. Here from Europe, maybe we don't get the picture, right? But social is like the natural way of doing things. I mean, social is natural and natural is social. In this sense, it's a kind of mixture that is impossible to separate. So I don't know what is going to happen for the 2 years that we have of Milei government. It's getting really violent reality every day, as you can see in the television or in the media. Hopefully, well, we in Museo Moderno, we are the city government of Buenos Aires, the Ministry of Culture of Buenos Aires is supporting the institution. So it is something really important. Otherwise, it will be like the end of the institution, like many other institutions have been through this last year. So we know that we are like oasis in a way for many artists who are now have no financial support from the government. So we know that we are important for the community, but also we are trying to learn from the community, to learn how the community has designed ways of organizing things that can be like parallel to the way of the state or the city organize things. So it's like a mutual learning that we are involved. And artists also in Argentina are a really good example of how things can be organized in another way, like self-organization. So I think that as an institution we have to pay attention to different forms of organization that are running in the society.
And if I can allow myself to comment a bit on that, I think it's something that relates that you were saying in the masterclass today, the fact that sometimes, of course, funding is very important, no one is discussing that, but sometimes, if it's possible to learn from others' experiences around the world, to see that how even without funding there is amazing ways to do things even when funding is not there. I'm not saying that funding is good, but I think it's a good opportunity to say that it's still possible to do things.
I believe the same. Actually, I would love to have more money for workshops, for collaborating with artists, researchers, to do manuals for schools, for teachers. But we do quite a lot of things with the money that we have. Actually, we do many things. It's impressive how much things we do with the money that we have. So maybe it's sufficiency, not efficiency. So we have to think in another way, ecological way. No, I'm not saying that I'm proud of the less money that we will have next year. It's going to be a problem. Sure, it's going to be a problem, and we will need to find private money for run the programs that I want to run. We have the anniversary next year, so it's going to be a huge budget, and we actually need private money. But in the meantime, we are doing many things. So it's challenging, but it's always like this in Argentina.
Thank you very much. Just to wrap up, I would like to ask you, based on your experience, very briefly, what is the key message that you can give us for upscaling and replication proposals, perhaps? What is universal in your experience?
Well, I'd say that since we are all working close or within a cultural institution, we have a lot of creativity, and it's like amazing. Every day I meet people who have dozens of ideas for a new project and just lack resource, time, and money to just organize them. But we have this thing where we are very good at creation, and we can build on that. Meaning that you already produce, as an opera house, we produce shows, we produce concerts, and we tell stories. And there's different level and different ways of sharing those stories, and we have people very competent and very skilled to explain a history, like maybe a complex old opera history, to children or to people who don't necessarily have the codes or have the references to some of the character or the history, and those are the passion and the skills which we can build on in order to make it accessible to people who are not like opera lovers. But I'm sure that this applies also into museum, because definitely have a program to address children, to address people who don't have a big background in art or in art history, and based on that we can and also relying on local support, local communities, local schools, or social institutions who really know this public. We can quite easily, sometimes just doesn't have to be like a big event. Sometimes it's just one small activity or one conference or one small workshop, but we have everything we need on a local base, and it usually doesn't take a lot of money just to speak to like the local partners. And we have those festivals. I'll finish with that. We organized. We've been doing that for like 3 years now. We try to organize what we call festival, and it can look big when I explain it, but in the end, from backstage, I can assure you that sometimes it's just an idea that popped like in a corridor between 3 people, and we say, okay, that would be so great to gather this school, this nursing home, and just organize one free discussion on immigration, for example, because we have an opera that is dealing with this topic, and we build on that, and we create one workshop, one conference, one thing, but it all has a link to what we produce on stage. And this is a way to address our message on stage to people who might not come to the opera, come on stage, or come to the museum necessarily to like have an entire tour. You just address them with some practice, an improvised choir, community choir, and it's not that difficult. It just requires people a little bit motivated, and I think this it can start with those small and then build bigger afterwards.
Can I say something about audiences?
Yes.
Also
one sector, one voice. So please continue to give us some messages.
Something that goes back to Felix Guattari's book, The Free Ecologies. That for me, art is almost like a climate. It's something like an atmosphere, like an element that makes things happen, like conversation. So we have to be ecological also with the images that we share, with the stories that we tell, in order to preserve them, but also in order to create new stories, new images, and to share them also. So that's art. That ecosystem for me is art. So we have to think about mental, we have to think about environmental, but there's another level that is the iconographic or the aesthetic level of the ecology that is based in this idea of producing and conserving images and stories. And that's about Felix Guattari's book. It was really something important for the work that we have been doing. I must say something else about this book, also about books and theoretical work. In cultural institutions, we don't have much time for studying, for learning. So something that must be improved also is like a way of creating focus groups with different institutions in order to read together, to discuss together, like practice, not like a theoretical thing or an academical thing, but a way of getting ideas to improve practices. So this is important. Regarding something else different, regarding the audiences, as you were saying, for me, my target as head of education, the audience that I want to take to the museum is the non-professional audience. I mean, I'm more interested in the non-professional audience than the professional audience. Professional audience, I know that they will come to the museum because they are already interested in the exhibition, in the programs that we're doing. They want to be showcased in the museum, so we know them. It's like a home for them, like a community. But there are many people who doesn't feel comfortable in the museum. I mean, if you work with mental health groups, issues, or if you work with people who is in risk of exclusion, social exclusion, whenever they come to the museum, they feel that they are entering a place that they don't belong to. So it is like a cultural symbolic barrier that is not about the architectural problem. It's about many things that we have to transform in order to become an institution that is accessibility is not only focused on disabilities.
Yes.
Well, that was it.
Thank you very much, Alfredo. You made me feel willing to go to the library, which is just around the corner, but please don't go there. We need to go back to Grange to conclude the session, to hear the final wrap-up. Thank you very much for coming to us, and thank you.